Bill De Blasio is on Ebro in La Mañana.
That's Mayor. It's Mayor De Blasio.
I just call him Bill now.
I know.
Ebro and I have a very close relationship now.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing.
he's my good friend too, Rosenberg.
Yeah.
We're gonna get right to it. Mayor De Blasio,
Yes.
you're late.
I'm troubled by that comment.
You're on CP time today. Cautious politician. You're late to the program. You were cautious in getting on Ebro in the morning. We've interviewed you 10 times. It's the first time you've been in.
This is the hot corner. I came here with trepidation and fear. Am I good enough to make it to Hot 97?
We're excited that you're here in person, though. This is a big
It's
deal.
an honor.
And Laura's making me feel bad because I felt terrible that I had to miss your event a couple of weeks ago.
We felt terrible about you missing it.
I know, you did.
Yeah, we kind of are shunning you at this point.
I know. No, exactly. I know. So now I'm shunned.
Laura, Ebro, I'm going to take your questions. There's no other questions acceptable.
Okay.
Hilarious.
I only want sort of club members, people who have already been a part of our inner circle.
Our little inner circle.
Yeah.
Literally the inner circle.
He's got a DJ name, you know.
Yeah.
Who does?
De Blasio.
Oh,
Yeah.
What's your
DJ?
DJ Blah.
DJ Fly?
Yeah.
I saw that. I forgot about that.
Basically, other DJs are all going to have to retire.
They're going to bow down to
dominant
greatness.
DJ.
Blah.
Yeah.
So De Blasio, though, a lot was made of the joke that Laura Stiles and I were at the event of the Inner Circle, and I was on the radio saying it's ridiculous that everybody's making this joke or a big deal out of this CP time, cautious politician joke. Do you think it was just because Hillary was up there and it was a lot of the anti-Hillary fervor and the pro-Bernie fervor that kind of brought that into you?
I would think that makes sense, that because otherwise I can't figure out.
Why it was such a big deal?
I just can't figure it out. I mean, Shirlane was on one of the shows on the weekend. They asked her, and she said, guys, it was a satire. The whole thing was a satire.
By the way, that wasn't the craziest joke, and I read a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. Look what the media jokes were like.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the jokes you made about Bernie and Trump, like there were a lot of jokes that were pretty out there. But that's the easy one for people to
using stereotypes.
I thought it was fun. We all laughed in this room when we heard it. We all laughed.
I thought it was crazy. So tomorrow's a big day.
Yes.
It is the primaries tomorrow, and New York State is being is now seen. I think I saw a headline on CNN. It was like their big tease for tomorrow. New York State primary battleground it was like a wrestling match. It was like it was
they do
HBO
that.
boxing.
Battleground.
Yeah.
You need more. You need Ebro.
Battleground.
Yeah, come on. Laura, we talked about this. Ebro needs more drama.
Right,
Okay?
needs more oomph.
So
Two will arrive. Only one will leave.
Yo, but that is literally what they do on Fox News and MSNBC. They really do treat these
Oh my
like
God.
wrestling matches.
Absolutely.
Now, Mayor, do you think could it be close tomorrow?
I don't think it's close, but I'm never surprised by anything. My statement is the polling often doesn't tell us the whole truth. The pundits sure as hell don't know the whole truth. The people get to decide, but I am judging from what I've seen on the ground. I've been all around the city talking about Hillary Clinton.
You were in Brooklyn with Hillary yesterday,
I was
right?
in Brooklyn at Bed-Stuy at a block party with Hillary. The response was amazing. I spoke in churches in Brooklyn. I think there's a real wellspring of good feeling for her for the years she served us. I think there are a lot of people who believe she's the person who can actually get something done. And that's, look, I have immense respect for Bernie. I really do. And the issues he's raised. But the question is real simple. We must change this country. It's urgent. It's now. Who can do it? I believe Hillary can do it. I think a lot of people see it that way, that she is the practical change agent. And I also found tremendous energy among women. And I think that's not getting the attention it deserves. There's different demographic realities being discussed, and it's a very valid conversation. I find a lot of women very excited at the notion of the first woman president of the United States and the leader of the free world being a woman. I think that's a powerful, powerful point. So, and women, how do I say this gently, gentlemen? Women are a little more engaged civically than the hombres at this point.
Yep. Men suck. Just say it. Men suck.
Ebro, I found that insensitive.
Don't make that joke.
Okay, Ebro. I hope this now becomes national headlines about what Ebro just did here.
says
No, listen,
men
don't worry.
suck.
Ebro has the word bro in his name. He can say whatever he wants
That's
about
true.
men.
Now, De Blas, let's go a little bit deeper. DJ Blah.
DJ Blah, please. Ebro, my official name, please. When I'm
DJ
on air,
Blah.
there's a trademark thing here. You have to use it. Okay?
We all, as liberal-minded individuals, have our heart when Bernie talks about things there. And I talked to Rosie O'Donnell. She was here on the phone this morning. We love the things Bernie says. We love it. He changed the conversation.
Yes.
Like imagine what this primary would have been without Bernie, and as much as we hate it, without Trump, these diametrically opposed, passionate individuals. They've made this very interesting, right? But when you get to Capitol Hill, you don't just get, or when you got to, Gracie Mansion or City Hall, you don't get to walk in and just wave your hand.
Yep.
So talk about what it is about Bernie that makes it almost impossible for him to get things done when he gets to Capitol Hill. Can you talk about that?
Well, I'm going to say it in a more positive vein. But first of all, I think you're right about the context of this year. I think something much bigger is going on. And it is the country's, considering itself in a whole new light. Bernie's contributed a lot to that, but not just Bernie. The fight for $15 minimum wage, a lot of what's happened around cities in the country, which cities there's so much energy on the ground where they're passing higher minimum wages and paid sick leave and all sorts of other anti-discrimination ordinances. Something's happening at the grassroots. Bernie has very powerfully articulated a lot of these points. He's also shown something very important. You can organize people in a different way and get a point across. And at the same time, there's a bigger discussion happening in this world. And, I think we have to look at people like Pope Francis who are making us rethink the entire question of inequality, for example. So big things are happening. But the point you make, I want to cast positively. When I got to City Hall, I had served under Mayor Dinkins and his administration. I had served in the city council. I actually understood something about how you achieve for people. That's how we got full-day pre-K for every child in the city. That's how we got an affordable housing program going for 500,000 people. It doesn't happen if you don't know how to do it. I think Bernie is a very smart guy. I think Hillary Clinton is the get things done lady. She understands how to move a program, how to get something to happen.
And bring people together.
And bring people together practically in the reality of what we're dealing with today. And someone who doesn't have a job, someone who doesn't have paid sick leave, someone who doesn't have pre-K for their kid, isn't looking for theory or words. They're looking for action, and they want it now. And I believe she's the person who knows how to achieve the action. Now, she said yesterday in Brooklyn, hold her accountable. If you look at her platform, it's the most progressive platform of anybody who would be president of the United States in half a century. You'd have to go back to Lyndon Johnson to find anything as progressive. She said in front of that crowd in Brooklyn, hold me accountable to it. And that's where all of us come in. It's great to elect someone, but then that movement, whatever, it's been Bernie's had a movement, Fight for 15's had a movement.
Right.
We all have to have a movement, elect a great president, but then hold them accountable. And I think we can honestly say after President Obama was elected, there wasn't enough of that movement to help him achieve his platform. This time we have to get it right.
And it took Obama his whole first term. They were stalling him out. And that was my fear early in this discussion with Bernie and Hillary. Is I love Bernie Sanders. I love what he's saying. When he gets to Capitol Hill, though, he's going to have to tailor that conversation to try to bring conservative-leaning individuals more to his to get anything done.
Well, the problem is
Obama gets to Capitol Hill. The first 4 years, we're like, dude, what happened to the hope? What happened to all your big plans? It took him to get reelected, cut some deals, and then get some things done.
But it also, I think, one of the great lessons of the early Obama years is he did not have a grassroots movement supporting his agenda the way he needed. That was the theory, that there would be organizing for America and there'd be this great groundswell. But when he went to do Affordable Care Act, when he went to get all the people who didn't have health insurance, there wasn't a groundswell for him. There were all those town hall meetings where the Republicans showed up and the right wing showed up. Where were the people who supported health care for all?
Because I think people lose sight of what we voted for you to get it up there.
Right, and then leave it be, as opposed to when you vote, it is the first act of the story. It's the first act of the play is you vote for someone into office, but then you have to actually help them achieve their plan and push them to achieve their plan. I think Hillary gets that. I think she's welcoming that.
The Republican side is interesting, to say the least. Did you have
this just in? They're interesting.
Did you, in your years being in New York, have you had any personal interactions with Trump?
Not really. I mean, I may have met him somewhere, but no serious interaction. I have to say, I wouldn't have said a year ago that Donald Trump would turn into this very divisive, very negative, overt racist figure. And I just wouldn't have believed it because he seemed like, a self-promoter and all that, but not a guy.
Are you surprised we've gotten this far?
No, and I think this is to Ebro's point earlier that what is this year about? I think it is showing the truth of where the Republican Party has gone. There is a lot of undercurrents that are now coming to the surface. And I think Trump actually lit that match. He actually brought out a lot of stuff that had been happening. You know, they use the phrase nowadays, dog whistle, you know, the notion of the coded language. He uncoded the language, and that's horrible in terms of, you know, what it feels like as an American. But maybe the blessing of it is it made raw and open the things that were really going on so they can now be attacked and addressed.
But I think it also, that coded language also has shown us the Republicans that exist out there that are not like that, right? Because you meet so many sort of Reagan, Bush kind of conservatives who are like, I don't know what to, I don't want to vote for any of these people. And I do sort of feel for those people who are economically conservative, even though it's not me. I feel for them. Like my father-in-law, he's a Republican, but he's a good guy. He's not a racist.
Is he?
We don't know. And I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know where
You
he
have a
goes.
Trump supporter in your family
No,
and you
he's
told
not.
us?
Wait a minute.
You shouldn't even say that. Don't even make that joke. No. So I don't know what he's going to do on election day.
Okay, Laura Ebro, this is why we need to shun him, okay? This is just another example. I've told you, okay, he's just not like us. We're just like, let's cut off this part of the table.
Don't you feel for those people a little bit, though?
I
Like,
can't hear you.
I'm finished.
but
No, but where do you vote? Where
Look,
would they go on
But I think
election
there's
day?
a bigger realignment happening. There used to be a whole lot of quote-unquote moderate Republicans, Rockefeller Republicans, who became Democrats because they couldn't take it anymore. They watched the Republican Party. Simple piece of history. When the Democrats really doubled down on civil rights in the 60s, a lot of people went with the Republicans in the South. The quote-unquote Southern strategy was an overtly racial appeal by the Republicans to pick up Southern white people. That deepened and became what you now see in Trump. For a lot of people who were Republicans or independents who voted Republican, they just said, wait a minute, that's not me anymore. I'm not going to buy into such a level of intolerance and division. They're going to become Democrats. They're going to move in a more progressive direction one way or another. The whole country's moving in a more progressive direction.
It is true.
And the generation coming up, I'm going to make a prediction here on Hot 97.
Here we go. This is big. Here, stop the music, Juanito.
The generation coming up is going to save our butts. And I don't want to say the word butt, but I'm trying to be polite.
Good for you. Don't get in trouble again.
Asses.
Thank you, Ebro. Ebro, thank you.
No problem.
My brother.
So, my brother, wait, man, I'm not your brother. That's coded language.
I will not say anything further. But no, the generation coming up is going to save us because they are not afflicted by the intolerance that previous generations were. Because they understand we have to save the earth from destruction, because they understand the economy is unfair and the system is rigged in so many ways, and they have the anger and the passion to do something about it. So I think this election has really one of the most dramatic presentations of what our country really is. The negatives and the damage of the past is on full display with people like Trump. The hope is on full display at the same time. And I actually am becoming more and more optimistic. America in 10 or 20 years is going to be a very different place. I think a much more inclusive and progressive place. But as Hillary said yesterday, we have to make it happen. And Bernie said it too. You can elect someone. Isn't that great? The people have to make it happen.
Yeah, real talk. You guys, Mayor De Blasio on Ebro in the morning, but I know you have a really tight schedule and we appreciate this time. We had Cuomo on last week.
Yeah.
Called in, celebrating his, the achievement of $15 minimum wage. We got some insight that this is going to take some time.
3 years, I
3
believe.
or 4 years.
Yeah.
But what does it mean on a local level immediately?
It's a couple of years for us too, but we will get to $15 by the end of 2018. And, it's going to mean a lot for people. And it's something we fought for a long time. And I want everyone to remember, there were a lot of people along the way said it was impossible. This is one of those things we all have to learn from. Just a few years ago, all over the country, certainly here in New York State, people were saying $15 minimum wage was absolutely positively impossible. Everyone who fought for it, and I'm proud to have been one of them, everyone who fought for it pushed the spectrum, made the impossible possible. So it means for people in this state, in 2 years, we'll get to that. In this city, we'll get to that level in 2 years. And then that's just a beginning. We have to do so much more. That's why we believe in things like expanding paid sick leave. We did that for 500,000 more people. Affordable housing, number one expense in people's lives. Free pre-K, free after school. We have to do all that. and keep building, because you can't have a society where people can't make ends meet.
Well, people don't see the direct correlation between if you live in New York City, it's already incredibly expensive to live here, and if you're a working class person, you have a terrible minimum wage. People don't equate that to crime and other problems right away.
It's crazy because, look, in the end, I'm going to say it a little different way than the direct connection to crime. I'm going to say it in terms of, do you belong in your society or not? If you're working all the time and you can't make ends meet, how do you feel you belong? How do you feel respected? How do you feel like you're part of the whole thing? So we need to create a society where people can make ends meet, where they can actually get ahead, where they know that they have opportunity if they work hard. And until we do higher minimum wage, paid sick leave, paid family leave, we develop jobs that actually pay a middle-class wage. That's why we're really, very happy about this growing tech sector here in this community. But then we have to give people the training that they can get to the tech sector, right?
Yeah.
Kids who go to our public schools, kids who go to CUNY, we are putting a lot of money into getting them those good-paying jobs in the tech sector. So it is about a constant building toward a more equal society and a more inclusive society. And again, I'm going to put in my plug. I believe in my heart, and I think we've shown here in New York City we can make some of these changes, but I have been making these changes without being able to turn to Washington for help. Barack Obama would help, but he's got a Congress that blocks him every single way. If I had a president in Washington who was moving the agenda, you know what it would allow us to do here in New York City? We could go so much farther, and I'm convinced Hillary Clinton's the person who can actually make these changes, knows how, has the ability, and I want to put in a very strong plug. Vote tomorrow. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whoever you're voting for, vote. Be a participant, own your society, and tell everyone else you know, because one of the things that people need to realize is you have your own vote. That's powerful. If you leave it on the table, if you don't use it, shame on you. But you have your own vote. You also have the ability to move your family, your neighbors. I'm asking everyone, get out and vote, and I believe the right candidate is Hillary Clinton.
Mayor Bill De Blasio, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, Roosevelt.
Well, last thing I was going to say, is there anyone else are we voting for anything else tomorrow that people have no idea what we're voting for? Or is this just presidential?
In New York City, the best of my knowledge, no. And in Long Island, there's a special election for state senate in Nassau County. But I think we just got the Democratic primary for president,
right,
and that's a lot.
No, that's a lot. But I don't want it to be one of those times where we show up, and the problem is we'll get to this next elections.
Right, and then
when you show up and you go,
there's all this stuff.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Right.
So
that happens a lot.
Yeah, so we'll deal with that next time.
And also make sure you're out there registering to vote, because there are people who think you just get to show up tomorrow and cast a ballot. New York State has a very strict,
sadly,
voter registration. You must be registered, which would happen October. I think you had to be registered on November.
You have to register 30 days in advance. So anyone who didn't register for this primary should get out and register, so you definitely are in the game
for the general.
For the general election, and everything else comes in between. One more thing I have to say for Brooklyn. Brooklyn is now officially the center of the universe. I just wanted to tell you that.
Wow, officially.
Yes. Love all 5 boroughs. Love all 5 boroughs, but one presidential campaign based in Brooklyn. The other one, the guys from Brooklyn. Where was the debate? Brooklyn. Okay. Just saying.
No, it's true. Brooklyn's the new Manhattan.
De Blasio lives in Brooklyn, owns a home in Brooklyn.
That's right.
When you're not at Gracie Mansion, you're in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Central theme here.
Brooklyn.
Thank you.
Got it.
Break it on down.
You guys give it up for De Blasio on Ebro in the morning.
Thanks, man.